Let's take a stroll through vintage Walt Disney World through the pages of a wonderful book. Hello everyone, I'm George Taylor from ImagiNERDing. Subscribe to my channel for more videos on Disney books, Disney history, and other theme park videos. If you've spent any time on this channel, you know I have a serious issue with collecting books. And I often use books for research, for fun, or times when I want to take a stroll down memory lane and visit a Walt Disney World that is no longer. And in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, Disney published a lot of different souvenir guides. So when you took a vacation, you would purchase the book from probably the Emporium at the Magic Kingdom or your hotel, go home and paw through it. They did the story of Walt Disney World the first decade, and a handful of books up until the mid-90s and even the early part of the 2000s. But the one I want to talk about today, they published mostly in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, and they were called the Pictorial Souvenir Guides to Walt Disney World. And these are spectacular because they're a quick look at Walt Disney World and what a vacation was, and sort of a miniature version of the souvenir guides. So let's open it up and take a look. All right, everyone, you can see what an amazing cover this book has. Walt Disney World, a pictorial souvenir. It's so iconic. The white lines are supposed to represent the world, like you would see on a globe. So there they've tied that into Walt Disney World. And they haven't really broken it down, but you can see that there are images from the Magic Kingdom showing off some of the e-tickets, the different things you could do. There are also some shout outs to the Polynesian, the Contemporary, and some of the activities that you could do, really showing you what a vacation at Walt Disney World is like. So let's open her up and take a look. Here we are on the first page, and right off the bat, check out that aerial photo on the left-hand side of the Vacation Kingdom of the World. This is pretty much, at the time of this publication, almost all of what Walt Disney World was. Not quite, but most of it. The Roman numerals at the bottom signify that this is a 1977 publication. And also, underneath the picture of the photo of Tigger hugging the person, it says 2-77-7. 1977, obviously. Not sure if this is the second version of it for the 7th month or the second month of publication, 7th version. I've been trying to figure that out for a while. If you know, let me know. But this is the introduction, gives you an idea of what you're going to see when you open the book. As you go from left to right, you can see everything, including good old Uncle Walt pointing out where the Florida project is going to be, to absolutely one of my favorite photos in this guide. Down here in the right-hand corner, it's a very voyeuristic shot from, there's a bush or a flower or something behind us, and it's an image of people taking photos of Mickey Mouse. That's such an amazing shot, and you just won't find things like that. And again, once we get to this book, we're going to see some of the differences between what a guidebook from the 1970s looks like and what a current one would look like. So great photos introducing you to it, but we start right off the many lands of Walt Disney World. I mean, they still have to explain what Walt Disney World is. You've got transportation, you've got night shows, you've got recreation, you've got golf, hotels, and you've got this great photo of Goofy with his arm around a guest in the teacups. And this is an early shot of the teacups because there is no roof over that. You can tell from the bright sunshine. So this is one of the first couple of years, and these guidebooks did not change much except for when they added something, a land or a hotel or a resort or something like that. But what's great about this guide is it shows you everything, including shopping at the Polynesian. How crazy is that for a guidebook? And that's going to be a theme for this, that you can do a lot of shopping. Again, another explanation of all the transportation. They want to let you know they've got boats, they've got monorails. They are going to get you around, and it's going to be part of your vacation. On the right-hand side, we've got the Magic Kingdom. Beautiful aerial shot. You see the monorail. You've got the ferry boat parked out front, and just this great vista that shows Space Mountain, the castle, and just looks like a hub of activity. The Land of Magic. So the next couple of pages, obviously, are going to look at the Magic Kingdom in some detail. Right off the bat, we've got Main Street, USA. Wonderful photos, and including some pretty strange ones. If you take a look at this photograph in the middle, obviously it was taken from the vantage point of Cinderella Castle, one of the spires. And it's an odd photo because it's a little off kilter. It's not perfectly straight, but it does give you a wonderful view of Main Street, USA, and what Main Street looked like from an angle we often don't see, but you get to see the Walt Disney World Railroad Station, the vast amount of water, the island in the middle that you had to go around, and you can barely see the Polynesian in the background, but you also get to see people hanging out on Main Street. They have horses, train, and another good shot of some of the shops on Main Street. Okay. Another spread for Main Street, and I love the picture in the upper left-hand corner of the Main Street vehicle with the blurred background. They never went that fast, but that's cute. But you see these wonderful photos of Main Street, the shops, the people there, and everything that you can experience, including the swan boats. That's something I would love to visit today. The next next few pages are Fantasyland. And here you got a great view of Cinderella Castle, King Stephen's Banquet Hall, which is what it was called back then, a different Dumbo from what we have today, the Skyway, and a great photo of an encounter of a very young toddler with a dwarf. You just don't see photos like that any longer in these books. Another page of Fantasyland on the left, which shows you some dark rides like the Mickey Mouse Revue, Mr. Toad, Small World, and again, teacups without a roof over them. Outside, that's an early photo. We know that. Starting on the right-hand side, they bring us to Adventureland. Some of the iconic scenes, the bathing pool. Look at the lack of vegetation on the Jungle Cruise. And throughout the whole guide, you've got these very tiny photos with different, it gives you the different flavor of the lands. Another 2-page spread for Adventureland showcasing the Enchanted Tiki Room, the Steel Drummers, a great vista on the left, the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse, and another view from inside of a shop of people shopping. But look how dark it is on the shop, and just brightness on the interior there. It's wonderful. You just won't see things like that today. Continue with the Pirates of the Caribbean. Of course, they get their whole page because Pirates was huge and changed the course of the Magic Kingdom history forever. All right, I'm moving on though. I'm not bitter. I'm not thinking about the Western River Expedition. On the right-hand side, we start Tomorrowland. And again, we've got this great photo of a guy driving the race cars, and they've blurred it so it looks like he's going super fast, but we know he's not. Wonderful photo of it's so tiny, but of the waterfalls that used to be at the front of the entrance to Tomorrowland. I love that entrance. So iconic. Another 2-page spread of Tomorrowland. You've got the Mission to Mars, I believe at the time that it would, Mission to Mars, the Grand Prix, and remember, Space Mountain and the Carousel of Progress and the People Mover would have been fairly new. This is a 77 publication, and those debuted in mid-70s, so 75, so you've got this is still relatively new, so you've got a lot of promotion on those as well. Frontierland. Some iconic photos. You've got the entrance to Frontierland, a great shot of the rivers of America with a Mike Fink keelboat and the steamboat and the loading dock in the back. On the right-hand side, a great shot of the Spooky House on the Hill, the Haunted Mansion. And look, you got some Tom Sawyer Island photos. They really did a good job with these. It's just very eclectic. Finishing up, we've got in Adventureland, of course, Frontierland, excuse me. The Country Bear Jamboree was a huge success for Walt Disney World. And then look, the right-hand side, Liberty Square, bleeds over. So it gets a lot of real estate. 1977, a year after the bicentennial, in 1976, huge, across the country. So a great panoramic shot of the Hall of Presidents, And just the way that they really focused on the buildings to give you that sense of colonial America. That was our quick trip to the Magic Kingdom. I know, right? Anyway, so the land of hospitality. Shopping, or not shopping, but your luggage. You can do boating, you can do golf. Great shot of the contemporary resort. Again, look, you've got this out of focus tree or bush or hedges on the left side. The monorail exiting or entering. I'm assuming from the location, I can't tell where we were, that it was actually entering based on the monorail beam. I'm not sure if they changed those, what side we're on. Anyway, and then look at the the right side, Polynesian. Beautiful, green, lush, and a little bit different from what we see today with the extension of some of the buildings that we now have. Hitting the Polynesian, you've got some great images of people enjoying the resort, an outdoor lounge, enjoying the old pool area, walking around. It looks like she is not walking where she's supposed to be walking, but that's okay. Great shot of the interior, and we'll notice something that I'll tell you about on the next page about this shot. Look at the lobby. I miss that lobby so much. The Polynesian luau. Okay. Looking at the contemporary, there's a lot going on in the contemporary. What drew my eye first is the large image of the Grand Canyon Concourse, the Mary Blair mural, with people dining at the bottom. You've got the top of the world. Look at that. I mean, just wow, screams 1970s recreation. You've got transportation, dining, shopping. Once again, that's actually where you got your haircut. Yes, but look at that, shopping. Now, here's the interesting fact. The photo of the people enjoying probably a continental breakfast or something, just like the one we saw the Polynesian with the family, they removed the doors on this shot. Any shot you see from the 70s of the interior of the hotel room where you can see that beautiful vista, they removed the doors. I don't know how high they were. I'm assuming they were pretty high, so can't imagine the wind was blowing through there. The wilderness land. Okay, nothing screams 1970s Walt Disney World like Fort Wilderness. And I did release a video that talked about camping at Fort Wilderness with some vintage photos. I'll put a link to it, make sure you check it out. But here you can see what you could do in addition to Fort Wilderness, but some more of the activities. Look, shopping, the Meadows Trading Post. And I love this image. You've got the canoes and you've got the Fort Wilderness steam train. The Tri-Circle D Ranch, the different ways you could camp and recreate. The recreation options were wonderful. The land of recreation. So look at all you can do. Again, I love this icon. The bicycle, the golf, the boat, those striped boats. They love it. You've got tennis. You've got the tandem bicycles. You've got horse riding. You've got the water sprites. Got river country. And you've got Treasure Island, which would later be known as Discovery Island, was originally known as Blackbeard's Island. For a while, it was actually named Huck Finn's Treasure Island. Huh? Yeah. But so much to do, so much activity, so much room for activity. Exactly. Continuing the activity, golf. Now, see, the golf resort, they kept it quiet. It didn't get its own layout or anything special like, camping at Fort Wilderness. But you can see the overview of the golf course. There's Jack Nicklaus receiving his trophy from Mickey Mouse with Goofy looking on rather jealously, I do believe. You've got the fact that you could eat and wear really ugly clothes while you ate there. And I love this photo, these last two photos here. Look at this lady passed out on her balcony. I'm assuming at the golf resort or maybe at the Polynesian with all the shopping bags. Obviously, you were supposed to shop in the 1970s of Walt Disney World. I also love this photo on the right of the couple that stopped. I think they had a bicycle. They may have been biking on a trail. And you can just see this wonderful, there's a canoe. I just love it. I think that shows you the uniqueness of Walt Disney World from the 1970s. And we come to the last couple of pages, sadly. Lake Buena Vista Shopping Village. Wonderful aerial view of the shopping complex, which we now know on this side is the Disney Springs, well, it's the Village Marketplace version of Disney Springs. The 12 Days of Christmas is over there. The World of Disney is right there in the center that we would know it as. Empress Lily is not here yet, which is now, oh gosh, they've changed the name so many times. I know you guys are going to hate me for not. Paddlefish. Paddlefish, yes, thank you. But again, images of people shopping. You would do that. A vacation in Disney in the 1970s, you were only expected, or it was only believed that you would go to the Magic Kingdom maybe 2 days. You were there for a week. You did plenty of other things. Until Epcot opened, then they started focusing on the theme parks. The last page is always, up until the beginnings of Epcot Center, were always an ad for Disneyland. Because most people that visited Walt Disney World had not visited Disneyland, so why not? You know? Some great shots, iconic shots of what was different about Disneyland, like the sailing ship Columbia, their version of Space Mountain, the Matterhorn, the monorail. Love this guide. And the last page is a very iconic view of the contemporary resort with the quote, "The Vacation Kingdom of the World," which was true at the time. I love this shot. This was taken from right as you passed over the water bridge that went from Bay Lake to Seven Seas Lagoon. Basically on this side where my hand is coming in would have been sort of the Fort Wilderness side. You know, Fort Wilderness would have been way off to the edge. And then the left side of the photo would have been on towards the Polynesian and the Magic Kingdom side, basically. But I love this book so much. It is a wonderful guidebook. Absolutely love it. As I mentioned, Disney did a whole bunch of these throughout the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s, all with a different focus. And as they changed, the focuses changed. They added more hotels, less attention on the Magic Kingdom. They added Epcot, because they didn't change in size. They were the same pagination throughout, roughly about 36 pages probably. But they would focus more heavily on the theme parks and the resorts and less on the activities to do. It's interesting. But I love these little guidebooks. These pictorial souvenirs are so much fun. I can imagine spending your hard-earned money as a young child in the 70s, taking this home with you, pawing through it, reliving your vacation, the things that you miss, the things that you love, and making plans to go back and see it again and again and again. Do you have a favorite pictorial souvenir or a special year that you remember visiting? Leave me a comment and let me know. I would love to hear from you. I'm George Taylor from ImagiNERDing, and I hope to see you in the parks.